Former President Trump has been indicted on several federal charges. Steve Hilton joining me now. Steve, great to see you. Just to spell it out very shortly, we now have a sitting president and a former president who's running again, both of whom have these very serious charges. Of course, Biden hasn't been indicted. Trump has. I mean, I used to cover Latin America. We didn't see this kind of craziness. As crazy as things got in Latin America for the 12 years I was covering, I never saw anything like this. I mean, it seems like we're becoming a third world country here.
Yeah, I mean, and you can look around the world right now. I mean, look in Pakistan. What's happening with the former Prime Minister Imran Khan, where they're trying to, in India, they're doing this. Look, we hear lectures right now, overnight and today, on other channels and in the media saying, don't question the rule of law. And if you defend Trump here, then somehow you're undermining the rule of law. You've got to wait and see what the charges are, etc. All right, let's wait and see what the charges are. That's a fair point. I'll tell you what else we're waiting for is any kind of charge or indictment against Hillary Clinton, who mishandled classified information that is well established, destroyed evidence, nothing there. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for any kind of charge or indictment against Joe Biden, who clearly, obviously, by his own admission, mishandled classified information. And so we get nothing. Here are the facts that we can all see from the minute that Donald Trump announced for the presidency. The entire establishment, the system, as it were, has been out to get him. First, to try and stop him from being elected in the first place. Then, as we saw, detailed in the Durham probe, trying to falsify charges for an investigation that was totally bogus to undermine his presidency. Then again in 2020, by censoring information revealing the corruption, which you just referred to, of Joe Biden, his opponent. And now they're doing it all over again. These are facts. So, yeah, let's wait and see what the specific charges are. But we don't need to wait to understand what's been going on for the last, 8 years? Yeah. Ever since Trump tried to solve the problems of this country in a way that the establishment don't like.
Well, Steve, this particular case is apparently going to be tried down in Florida. Florida is not New York or Washington, D.C. The jury pool there is not unanimously anti-Trump as it is certainly inside the Beltway. So it'll be less of a rigged deck once it goes to trial. And I talked to Alina Habba. She's an attorney for Donald Trump earlier in this show. She was saying they're going to bring up this unequal application of justice in the courtroom. So she's not trying this particular case, but apparently that's their strategy. Do you think it will take? Do you think the jury will do their job and this case will be thrown out of court?
Well, I think that there's going to be all sorts of challenges, and quite right too, because it just seems clear that any fair-minded person can see that there's a total difference here in the way that justice is being applied. And so, yes, those challenges should be brought. Look, I don't know exactly how it's going to go down in the courtroom. We'll have to wait and see. But there's no question that there needs to be an argument about why this treatment for this candidate and totally different treatment for the other candidate, Joe Biden, accused of this exact same thing, apart from the obstruction, fair enough. But the mishandling of documents, there's no difference there. And as I said earlier, Hillary Clinton, when we see the fairness and the same treatment of everyone, then I think people can say, yeah, we believe in the rule of law, that the rule of law really exists.
Well, Steve, it's a very dangerous world we're in right now. A lot of people would argue partly because of the policies of the Biden administration. But the fact is that our enemies are sitting back and trying to figure out ways to take advantage of this confusion in our system. And what about our allies? I mean, they look at this. They look at that press conference yesterday between the British Prime Minister and the President of the United States, where the President got questions that clearly he had written answers to. Either he had the questions in advance, as he had before, or he quickly switched pages to the particular subject and just was reading the answers, not ad-libbing at all, reading the answers. He had to ad-lib a little when it was a UK reporter, but not when it was a US reporter in there. So, I mean, the world looks at what's happening in the United States. What does the world think, particularly our European allies?
They cannot believe it. They absolutely cannot believe it. Remember all that stuff that we heard from Biden? Oh, America is back. I mean, look at what a laughingstock we've now become. And it's all down to the same establishment that's going after Trump and trying to prevent him from doing what he needs to do to save the American economy and our society and all the things he wants to do. Now, it's the exact same people, the same establishment, who put Biden in there so that they could control him. They knew from the start that he's a feeble, senile old man, totally corrupt, machine politician, doesn't believe in anything, a puppet of his donors and of the establishment for all his career. So they put him in there, and now look at the result. You have someone that clearly is incapable of doing his job. And by the way, that's what he's like in public, Biden, when he knows he's on display.
Yes.
Imagine what he's like in private. These leaders, like Rishi Sunak yesterday, they get to see him up front and close in a meeting. Imagine what Biden's like in that situation. It is a complete disaster for the country.
You know, I'm dating myself, but I just happened to be in Europe during the Watergate era. Right out of high school, I went to Europe for a few months. And get the sense it was the same back then, where Europeans were just wondering how the hell we'd land on our feet. We did land on our feet. It took us a few years to do so. But we're in for some rough times ahead. There's no doubt about it. Steve Hilton, great to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Good to see you.
Have a good
you.
weekend.